If you had a smartphone in early 2014, chances are you either played Flappy Bird or at least heard people complaining about it. A game so simple that anyone could pick it up in seconds, yet so unforgiving that most players couldn't last more than a few taps. It was the kind of game that made you rage quit 1 second and then restart the moment after. But here's the weird part, it wasn't just another forgettable mobile game. For a short period, Flappy Bird was everywhere. People were obsessed with beating their high scores, social media was flooded with posts about it, and YouTube was filled with reaction videos of players losing their minds. And then, just as fast as it appeared, Flappy Bird was gone. Not because people got bored of it, but because the creator himself removed it from the App Store, despite the fact that it was making $50,000 a day. One of the most profitable mobile games was deleted by choice. So what happened? Why did this game, which seemed destined for long-term success, vanish overnight? Was it because of the controversy surrounding it, the pressure of sudden fame, or something else entirely? Today, we're taking a look at the full story of Flappy Bird, from its quiet beginnings to its unexpected rise, and the chaos that followed when it was taken down. Before Flappy Bird became the most talked about game in the world, it was just another small project made by a single developer, Don Nguyen. Born in Vietnam, Nguyen wasn't some big-name game designer working for a huge studio. He was just an independent developer who enjoyed making simple games in his free time. He had always been a fan of classic video games, especially the one from the NES era. He loved their straightforward mechanics, games that anyone could play, but only a few could truly master. This idea became the foundation for Flappy Bird, a game that was easy to pick up but brutally difficult to succeed in. The concept itself was incredibly basic. You controlled a small bird, tapping the screen to make it flap and navigate through gaps between green pipes. If you mistimate a tap, even slightly, you'd crash and have to start over. No power-ups, no second chances, just you, the bird, and your reflexes. Visually, the game looked like something straight out of a retro Nintendo title. In fact, many players later pointed out how similar the pipes were to the ones from Super Mario Bros. But at the time, this wasn't seen as a big deal. Nguyen originally released Flappy Bird in May 2013 on the iOS App Store, but at first barely anyone noticed it. Like thousands of other small indie games, it just sat there, lost in the endless sea of mobile apps. For months, almost nobody played it, and it seemed like it would be forgotten just as quickly as it appeared. But then, something unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, Flappy Bird started gaining traction, and once it did, it became unstoppable. For months after its release, Flappy Bird remained completely unnoticed. It had no marketing, no big influencers playing it, and no reason to stand out among the thousands of mobile games being released every week. But then, around late 2013, Flappy Bird started climbing in the App Store rankings. At first, it was slow, gaining a few downloads here and there, but then it skyrocketed. By January 2014, it had somehow reached the top 1 spot on both the iOS and Google Play stores, beating out apps from major game studios. So, what caused this sudden explosion? One of the biggest reasons was the word of mouth. People weren't just playing Flappy Bird, they were talking about it. The game was absurdly difficult, which made it frustrating but also weirdly addictive. Every time someone failed, they immediately tried again, convinced they could do better. This constant struggle to improve turned Flappy Bird into a competitive obsession. Social media also played a huge role in spreading the game. Twitter was flooded with people complaining about how impossible it was. Memes about Flappy Bird started appearing everywhere. And of course, YouTubers jumped on the trend, uploading videos of themselves raging at the game, which only made more people want to try it. But it wasn't just about difficulty, there was something psychological at play. The mechanics were ridiculously simple, but they created a perfect mix of frustration and reward. Every time you lost, you felt like you could have done just a little better if you had reacted a fraction of a second earlier. That feeling of being so close to beating your high score kept players hooked.